Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MTGO Traders. My name is Taryn, and we're going to be talking about a very interesting build that I kind of put together myself for Modern. This is Dimir Hollow One. Now, I will say Dimir Hollow One is an interesting build, to say the least. I kind of wanted to get into a situation where we were drawing lots of cards, discarding lots of cards, and of course casting Hollow One for really cheap. There really isn't that many options for us in Dimir for blue, obviously, because, you know, the Hollow One is normally a red-black build, but I do think there is something to be said about this deck list, and I think there might be some tooling in the future for this deck list to be even better. So we're going to jump right into it, of course, starting with our creatures. And something interesting here is I kind of took some pages from Dimir Hollow One and Grixis Death's Shadow, because the first 4 creatures in this deck list are 4 of Death's Shadow. Now, Death's Shadow is a 1-mana, 13/13 creature, but it gets -X, where X is our life total, so this can't be played until we have less than 13 life. Could be a 1/1, could be a 2/2, could be a 6/6, because that's amazing for us, but at the same time, you know, it's going to be very hard for us to keep this thing, you know, coming out extremely quickly. And since Modern is kind of a fetch land format and a shock land format, and you know, you have street raids and all that kind of stuff as well in the deck as well, this is kind of coming out pretty much how you want it, turn 3, turn 4, as quickly as you possibly can until, you know, you get out of Death's Shadow and you can do some real damage with it. But moving on to another creature for us, we've got Bloodghast. So again, because this is a Dimir Hollow One list, we're drawing lots of cards and we're discarding lots of cards, and Bloodghast is a fantastic discard outlet for us in the game here. A 2-mana 2/1, it can't block, but it has safety if our opponent has 10 or less life, and whenever we lay a land, we can return it from the graveyard to the battlefield, making it basically the perfect discard outlet, and a reason it's a 4 of in this deck list. Next up for us, because there are no really good like blue discard outlets, we have Champion of Wits here, a 3-mana 2/1. Now, Champion of Wits, when it enters the battlefield, we draw cards equal to its power and discard 2 cards. Very interesting, because we draw 2, discard 2. That means that Hollow One is only going to be 1 mana if we have the mana to cast a Champion of Wits and an extra mana for a Hollow One, so 4 mana in total. We can also exile this from the graveyard and recast it, or, you know, bring it back from the graveyard as a 4/4 with the same ability, which means we'll be able to draw 4 cards and discard 2 cards. So discarding less cards than we're drawing, which is very good. Has some nice implications against lots of good removal spells like Lightning Bolt, Fatal Push, that kind of thing. But that's like the late game. That's, you know, 7 mana. That's a lot to do that, to do the Eternalize mechanic, but still a very good card for us for just 3 mana. Next up for us, because of Bloodghast, and this being Dimir, and we need discard outlets, we have Prized Amalgam. Now again, this is a very interesting card in the deck list. It's something that probably in retrospect doesn't fit that well, but I really liked how it kind of interacted with the Bloodghast and of course our discard outlets. Prized Amalgam is a 3-mana 3/3 that can return to the battlefield if we have something or a creature move from the graveyard to the battlefield, like Bloodghast, for instance. So discard a Bloodghast, discard a Prized Amalgam, lay a land, return Bloodghast to the battlefield, and Prized Amalgam will follow suit on the incept. So very interesting ability there. Lots of cool dynamics for that. Not necessarily perfect for this deck list, but it's fine. We're still brewing, we're still testing. We'll see what this does in the matches. And of course, let's talk about our 4 of Hollow One here. Hollow One being one of the best creatures from recent memory as far as being in recent standard. It just rotated, but it is a 5-mana 4/4. It costs 2 less to cast, or 2 colorless less to cast. Each time we discard a card, so discard 2 cards, it's only 1 mana. Discard 3, this card is free. Wow, that's great. And of course we can cycle this for just 2 mana as well. So we're not going to use the cycling as much, so getting this out for just 1 mana or no mana most of the time is what you want to do with Hollow One. And it's just such a fun card. Even though it does nothing once it hits the battlefield, it's just like it's like you did it. It's like when this happens, it's so much fun. And keeping along with the cycling kind of routes for us, we have Street Wraith here, 4 of here. It's a 5-mana 3/4 with Swamp Walk, which can be important sometimes, but more often than not, we're just going to pay the 2 life and cycle this. This feeds 2 things in our deck list. It feeds our Death's Shadow and it feeds our Hollow One. So lots of stuff for us to use here, and I really like it as far as, you know, getting into the deck list a little bit faster than normal. Moving on, because we have lots of cycling, lots of discard stuff. We've got a 2 of Tasigur, the Golden Fang here, a 6-mana creature. It's a 4/5. It has Delve, and it also has an ability where we pay for, and, you know, we pitch 2 cards on the top of our deck to the graveyard. Our opponent picks a non-land card from it and gives it to our hand. So very interesting there. Can sometimes kind of limit what's in our graveyard with the Delve mechanic here, which is really fun. Tasigur, again, coming out really quickly, again, because of all the fetch lands, all the discard outlets, and cycling we have in the deck list. And the last creature in the deck list, we have 3 Gurmang Anglers, very similar to Tasigur here, except it's not a legendary creature, which means we can double up on the battlefield. It's a 7 mana with Delve, but it's a 5/5, and of course can be cast for just 1 black mana if you have enough stuff in the graveyard, which normally we will by turn 3 or 4. Moving on to our spells, we have the typical kind of cornucopia of modern staples. We've got some Fatal Pushes here for you. We've got 2 of those, a great removal spell for us. We've also got some Thought Seizes for you, 2 of those, really good against, the storm decks, the combo decks, anything that we don't like on game 1, on turn 1, we're gonna use a turn 1 Thought Seize. That's gonna get it for you. We also have your Collective Brutalities. We need some discard outlets, and this is fantastic with Hollow One, discarding some cards, making Hollow One being just a 1 mana 5 or 4/4, very good card overall. And an interesting card here for us because we do need some discard outlets for spells. We have 4 Compulsory Research. This is a 3 mana sorcery. We draw 3 cards and discard 2 cards unless we discard a land card, so very interesting for that. I really like the dynamic here with the deck list. Of course, making the Hollow One a 1 mana spell, but drawing 3 cards means we're probably going to draw into a Street Wraith, meaning that Hollow One is going to be free. And you'll see during the matches that we have those kind of situations kind of crop up quite a bit. Very useful card in the deck list. A bit slow, obviously, because it is sorcery speed, but very fun in this deck list. And that is going to do it for all the spells here. Let's move over to our lands. We have 21 in total. We've got 4 Watery Grave, 4 Polluted Delta, which is a fetch land, and then 4 Flooded Strand, again, another fetch land. Again, we're just using these to kind of thin our deck a little bit. And then we have 4 Island and 5 Swamp. And that is the full 60 on game 1 game plan. So let's see what we can do in the sideboard against combo, against more aggro, and against more creature heavy deck lists. So first up, we've got more Fatal Push. We have 2 more Fatal Push here to deal with those Tarmogoyfs, other Death Shadows, anything we don't like against our opponent's board state. So right now, the Infect deck is surprisingly good, and we really want to deal with that as quickly as possible because Infect can kill you super fast. So we have Fatal Push for that. We also have Inquisition of Kozilek, so we could put in more Thoughtseize here. I don't want to put more Thoughtseize because of the life loss ability. I know that's kind of counterintuitive with the Death Shadow here, but I do like Inquisition for those early, more aggressive decks. Very good at being able to get rid of stuff that's really cheap, like Storm or Mono Green Elves, or anything where it's low to the ground strategy. We also have Nihil Spellbomb here. Now this is really good for us against the Dredge list, against the Storm list right now, if they're trying to go with an Arclight Phoenix Dredge list, against anything like the Ironworks deck list. That deck is super frustrating to deal with, and the Spellbomb hopefully deals with that as well. Or another Bloodghast deck, another Hollow One deck, where they have creatures coming back from the graveyard over and over again. The Spellbomb is here to hopefully deal with that, and of course, when we do sacrifice it, we can pay 1 black and draw an extra card, so pretty good there for us all around for just 1 mana. We also have 3 up Stubborn Denial. I kind of was looking at this card as a card that kind of, I feel like, came over from the Grixis Death Shadow deck lists. I really like it against the more counter matchups, especially because we're going to have a 4-power creature by turn 2 most of the time, turn 3 normally. So Stubborn Denial is just a great card for us, basically just, countering a non-creature spell. You could put in here a Mana Leak or something like that instead, but I do like Stubborn Denial, as it does mean that, we're curving out, our opponent's curving out, we have 1 mana up that we just kind of have up. An opponent will be more than likely be able to kind of cast what they want to, and then we're going to Stubborn Denial that, basically a free counter. And now to deal with Tron and Storm and any kind of deck where they're casting a lot of spells like Ironworks, we have Damping Sphere here. It's a 2 mana artifact, very, very powerful card here. Obviously, this card is still in Standard right now, and honestly, if you don't have this card, I would definitely recommend this card. It's going to be a sideboard staple in Modern forever. Fantastic card, really good against a lot of decks, not very bad against our deck because, again, we're cycling stuff, casting stuff from the graveyard, or not casting stuff, but bringing stuff back from the graveyard. The only thing we're really casting is Hollow One, or like, a Tasigur. That's about it. For a little bit more creature heavy removal, we have 2 Dismember here. Now Dismember does 2 things for us, of course. It helps weaken our life total, meaning Death Shadow will be stronger, and of course it's doing -5/-5 to an opponent's creature. That's going to kill basically anything in the meta right now, and very good card for you in the sideboard game plan. And the last 2 cards in the sideboard here are Ritual of Soot. I added this card because, of course, Bloodghast and Prize Amalgam are not really affected by this card. Obviously, they're killed by this card, but they can definitely come back later, which is very useful. Meaning that the Hollow One, the Tasigur, the Gurmang Angler, all of those cards will have the ability to kind of return to the battlefield, or not return, but not be destroyed thanks to Ritual of Soot, because of course it's 3 mana cost and less. That kills your Death Shadows, that kills your Tarmogoyfs, that kills your Snapcasters, that kills basically anything on their opponent's side of the field that's, of course, 3 mana or less. less. That's humans, that's elves, that's tokens, that's a lot of stuff, guys. So if you're wanting to build this on MTGO Traders, it's coming to about 180 tickets, which isn't too bad for a modern deck list. And surprisingly, it's quite cheap as well in paper. If you're wanting to build this on paper as well, it's coming to about 427 bucks. That's, again, surprisingly low. Most of the modern decks I've kind of looked at are kind of within like the 600 to 700 range. And this is including 8 fetch lands in the deck list thanks to Flooded Strand and Polluted Delta. So something to keep in mind for that deck list as well. I'm going to put the full deck list probably at the beginning of this video, but here as well. So if you're going to see it right here too. But that's all of the full 75. So let's get into some matches and see how this deck performs. All right, guys, let's get into match 1 for Modern Melee. And this is, of course, Dimir Hollow One, Dimir Death Shadow, Dimir Gurmang Angler, whatever you want to call it. We have a mulligan there. We're probably going to keep the Hollow One on the bottom. Have a decent opening hand with our Death Shadow, Bloodghast, Thoughtseize, and Street Wraith. So, and we had a second Street Wraith that Hollow One on top would have been perfect for us. A turn 1 Hollow One is always nice. Darksteel Citadel from the opponent. This is basically the sign that they're on, and plus the Thoughtseize also confirms this. They're on the Quark Clan Ironworks deck list. And, well, we're in for a treat for this match, at least, I guess. Let's go for Inventors for that, and they're going to go Ichor Wellspring there. An artifact that when it enters battlefield or goes to the graveyard, they draw a card, so really good sack outlet for them. Our turn here now. We'd like to go for probably the Flooded Strand into maybe a Bloodghast, cycling the Street Wraith to get some more value, as well as bringing our life total down for the Death Shadow. So lots of stuff that this deck is doing in our hand right now. Watery Grave, we just drew into that. Well, we're going to grab another one. Go to 15, go to Street Wraith, and then play out Bloodghast. We're at 13 right now, so a second Watery Grave with the Polluted Delta does mean that Death Shadow can come out next turn, which is quite good for us. But they have their Mirror Retriever here, which is one of the pieces of the Ironworks combo. Keep in mind they can go Retriever, and if they have Scrap Trawler in their hand or if they draw into it, then it just creates this crazy scenario where they can go Ironworks, go play that again, go Scrap Trawler, grab Retriever, and then just kind of snowball from there. We're going to go for a Tassiger here, and then go Death Shadow, thanks to that fetch land, and then try and get in for 2 here. Maybe not. We're going to pass turn here for now. They do gain a life with the Inventor's Sphere, so that's good for them. So we're going to see what they do this turn. Keep in mind they also have Aetherflux Reservoir, which is basically another win condition for the Ironworks deck that's kind of cropped up here. Engineered Explosives for 2 here. That can only hit the Bloodghast, so they're probably using that for maybe something else that they think we have. So Compulsive Research for us. Drawing 3 cards, discarding 2 unless we discarded a land card. So we're just getting this because of the value for it. Probably throwing away maybe just 2 cards, the research, or maybe just a land. Let's do just a land. Go Watery Grave, go down to 8, and then we have 11 points of damage on the board. 1 card in hand for the opponent here. So let's just attack out here. And of course they block the 5/5, they grab the Ironworks back from the graveyard, and they gain a life. They go up to 15 here. So going to tap out for the Ironworks here, and then their combo's kind of going to start going now. So again, Engineered Explosives needs 2 mana to sacrifice, as well as destroy 2 mana cost things on the battlefield. So Scrap Trawler hitting the battlefield. There's an Ancient Stirrings. Yeah. All right, there's a Retriever from their graveyard there, and of course Mox Opal and Explosives getting out the Reservoir. And there we go. There's the combo, basically. So this is game 1, so we basically just need to get into game 2 here, so let's go with a concede and see what we can do in game 2. Let's bring in Damping Sphere and the Spell Bomb, of course, for this matchup. We could bring an Inquisition of Kozilek as well, since that is quite good, and Stubborn Denial is also pretty good in this matchup too. So let's take out the Fatal Push, bring in the Kozilek, take out maybe some Champion of Wits, or maybe some Hollow One instead, and then take out some Collective Brutality and hit OK. Taking out Collective Brutality because that's not as useful in this matchup, since all their stuff is mostly, mostly artifacts. Opening hand is pretty much the nut draw. Flooded Strand, 3 Street Wraiths, a Damping Sphere, Hollow One, and Angler. This means that we'll be able to have a Hollow One for free, as well as an Angler really quickly as well. Just fantastic play here for us. We have Hollow One on turn 1 for free. Love that. And let's just cast that for free. There we go. Gonna save on to that last Street Wraith, just in case. But Angler coming out next turn is also quite likely, thanks to the Polluted Delta, and of course the 4th Street Wraith. Watery Grave going down, taking us down to 8 here. We want to go with probably the hit for 4, and I want to go with an angler and also, yeah, let's go angler first, and then next turn we want to go damping sphere. Wellspring from the opponent here. We really don't want to play the sphere until probably about turn 3 unless they're really aggressive with their turn 1 play, so having a Hollow One and Angler on turn 3 is really good for us though. They're at 16, so we should be able to close this match out pretty quickly. Let's go with a Damping Sphere first before we do anything else, and then just get in for 9. We're just kind of representing a clock here, and that's exactly what we want to do. 8 life on the opponent's side of the field. We have 8 as well, but of course we have, you know, 9 power on the battlefield, so we're representing lethal. Terrarian from the opponent here. They really need a bounce spell. Do they have a bounce spell? Let's get in for 9. Echoing Truth here in game 2. Okay, makes sense. Let's go with a Champion of Wits here instead. Draw 2, discard 2. Let's discard a Bloodghast and a Prized Amalgam, and then Street Wraith on main phase 2. Play a Flooded Strand, get back a Bloodghast, and get back a Prized Amalgam. So the deck is working as intended in game 2 here, which I'm really appreciating. Ironworks from the opponent, probably not fast enough. 2 cards in hand for them, and of course Damping Sphere makes everything a little bit more expensive, so those Mox Opals become 1 and 2 mana instead of being for free. So we'll see what happens though. Scrap Trawler from the opponent here, so they do have 1 piece of the combo going. Wellspring being sacked to draw a card, as well as gained 2 colorless. 4 cards in hand. But again, Damping Sphere is at 2 right now, which means they have to pay 2 mana to cast something. So it's going to eventually catch up to them where they won't be able to pay the Damping Sphere cost. We'll see though. Getting out an Aetherflux Reservoir here, and looks like they have no mana. They're going to sacrifice the Ironworks, pay 2 for the Mox Opal. Alright, that's fine I guess, and that's going to do it. Okay, let's get into game 3 here and see what we can do. Again, we could probably bring in the Stubborn Denial, but let's take out maybe some Prized Amalgam, a Prized Amalgam, and a Compulsive Research, bring in Stubborn Denial and Hollow One, and just hit OK. Let's see what our opening hand has for us. Game 2 of that was really strong for us. Really wish we could basically repeat that for this matchup. We'll see though. 1 mana hand, not necessarily a great hand for us. This is probably a keep thanks to the Spell Bomb and us drawing, and a Polluted Delta off the top is also pretty good. So let's go Polluted Delta, sack, grab a Watery Grave, and get out a turn 1 Spell Bomb. Now, this might be a mistake based on what they have. Let's go with a Retriever, Watery Grave into a Swamp. Let's go Watery Grave and pass here. Inventor's Fair from the opponent, getting out a Scrap Trawler and a Mox Opal into a black, into a Engineered Explosive. So this does mean that the Spell Bomb is basically useless now. We sort of got into that. Let's go Compulsive Research. We could play the Champion of Wits here, but I think we want to go Compulsive Research. Let's get rid of the Amalgam and a Champion of Wits and pass turn here. Want to hold on to that Swamp just in case we want to play out Damping Sphere and something else next turn. Ironworks from the opponent here. So we did draw into the Ironwork, or the Damping Sphere, I believe. So we're going to go for the Spell Bomb here, obviously. But it's not really going to matter that much because they have the Scrap Trawler and Ironworks and the Retriever on the battlefield. So all we're trying to look for now is to see if we can actually time out our opponent now. Because this is, again, game 3. They're at 11 minutes. We're at 19 minutes. So let's see what we can do. I'm probably going to start speeding up the footage now, if that's alright for you folks. That way we can kind of see what's happening here. Okay, going to go with a Mox Opal coming in. And then, of course, Engineer Explosive just getting resacked. Inventor's Fair getting an Ichor Wellspring. And then they got their combo kind of going now. So this is kind of the thing with the Ironworks deck on MTGO. And this is the reason I probably will never play it on this channel itself, is because it's sort of extremely difficult to manage while they're doing their stuff here. So it's just one of those things that I'm not necessarily sure that we want to kind of do this, you know, on the channel, because just how much time it takes to do things. So again, they're at 8.5 minutes. They got to pull into basically the Marvel deck, not the Reservoir, not the Marvel. Aetherflux Reservoir is the card they're wanting to try and get into. Engineer Explosives. Oh, they actually give the turn back to me. I'm gonna go Damping Sphere, and let's just pass turn here.
And of course, Nature's Claim hits that immediately, so. Good news for us, huh? At this point in the match, I would recommend probably going for a concede. We'll see what happens. There's a sphere there, Mox Opal. Alright, let's see. They're at 6 minutes now. We're just kind of waiting it off just to see if we can definitely time them out. That's all I'm kind of waiting on now, is if we can time them out for this match. Because we definitely don't have anything in our hand to use. We could cycle the Hollow One, I guess, if we want to do that. That's really the only option we have in our hand. But they're just going to draw their entire deck thanks to the Wellsprings and the Scrap Trawlers and all that fun stuff. They're under 5 minutes now, so 5-minute warning. Going for our Mox Opal Engineered Explosives. Just grabbing that mana from the Mox Opal there. Scrap Trawler into... Okay. Yeah, Wellspring once again. Terrarium. Chromatic Star. 31 cards in their deck. They're at 3.5 minutes. They need to get out a Reservoir soon. I think they're trying to just cast as many things as possible so that they can just ping us for 50 in total. They may have the Reservoir in their hand right now. Surely they do. Sphere, Terrarian, yeah. They're almost at 2 minutes. Can we do it? Is it possible? Okay, Chromatic Star going out for a Reservoir. Mox Opal, 49. Okay, Mox Opal. Yeah, that's it. All right. That's fine. Let's get into match 2 here and see what we can do. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold here. Aether Vial going for a Polluted Delta. Let's grab a Watery Grave and go for a Street Wraith. Bloodghast is the card we get into. Not too great. Aether Vial into, let's see, School. Aether Vial, is this Merfolk? This looks like Merfolk here. Let's go with the Thoughtseize. Oh, this is totally Merfolk. So they have Lord of Atlantis, Marrow. We will probably want to get rid of the Lord of Atlantis, but their hand is amazing. So I'm not really sure what we can do against that. Might have been an auto concede there. We can definitely make Angler and Tasigur pretty quickly, but the issue for us is, of course, that Lord of the Atlantis gives things Island Walk. And we have islands, thanks to Watery Grave. We're down to 9 here. I think we're going to go with a Tasigur. Get that out. And pass turn. Getting a Mistcaller into Lord of Atlantis. Once again. And yeah, it's going to be very difficult to kind of get around this. We're at 9 life on turn 4, so they're going to be able to crash in for 9 here. Yeah, that's it. Let's bring in a Ritual of Soot. Let's bring in Fatal Push, Inquisition of Kozilek, and Dismember. Basically trying to slow them down. We could bring in maybe Damping Sphere or Stubborn Denial. I think Stubborn Denial might be better than Damping Sphere. But I do think that taking out Compulsive Research, some Hollow Ones, that's a bit better here for us. Research is not nearly as fast as we want, so bringing the Thoughtseizes, or bringing the Fatal Pushes in over that is good. So let's see, 3 lands, all fetches, Tasigurs, and Inquisitions. I'm liking this, so let's go for it. Let's go Polluted Delta into probably a Watery Grave. Again, we're trying to feed that Death Shadow, so Inquisition here. Probably okay to grab Spreading Seas because it does give them card draw, but taking away a Trickster or a Phantasmal Image is also pretty good. But let's grab Spreading Seas first. Island for the opponent here. Pass. Let's go Polluted Delta. Grab Watery Grave once again, and then go Inquisition here. And let's grab Phantasmal Image, so they can't, you know, copy a Lord. Because once 2 Lords in the battlefield, everything has Island Walk, and that's not good. So, 2 blue mana here. Let's go with a Flooded Strand. Just going to grab another Watery Grave. Let's go for a Bloodghast and pass turn. Merfolk Trickster coming in. We could use it out on the instep there, but let's wait to see if we see any Lords come in. Here's Master of the Pearl Trident. Perfect opportunity. Oh, Spell Pierce. Okay. What a great draw for the opponent here. Getting in for 3, dropping us down to 8. Let's go with a cycle with Hollow One. We have Death's Shadow, but let's go for Tasigur first. Death's Shadow is a 5/5, but Tasigur is a 4/5 that gives us a little bit of reach, so Either way, we're fine. Let's get in for 2 here, and of course pass. 2 cards in hand for the opponent here. Keep in mind they also have a Trickster, so getting in for 3 here, dropping us down to 5. We really needed a Fatal Push there, or a land for something. Yeah, we're just going to attack in here, and then go for probably Death Shadows. It doesn't really matter though, because it's going to be a GG because of the flashed in Merfolk Trickster that has Island Walk. So that's it. Let's go to match 3 here. Having some hard-fought matches here. Had a combo deck on the first game, and also had a really aggressive Merfolk deck here. Oh no, it's Sleight of Hand. And we're playing against Storm. No. Oh my gosh, this Modern League has turned into a hellish landscape. What is happening? Gonna go Watery Grave, Steam Vents from the opponent here. Tapping into a Goblin Electromancer. We want to go Thoughtseize here and see what they have. We have Grape Shot or Past in Flames, so there's some options here for us. We could grab the Electromancer as well, since it does make their casting free stuff not as free. Grape Shot is also the in-game kind of goal there, and Past in Flame is cheaper whenever they cast it the first time. So let's just grab Grape Shot and get that out of the way, since of course Grape Shot means they have to have Past in Flame to use it. So we're getting in for 2 here. Down to 11. Steam Vents tapping in for another Electromancer and another Steam Vents coming in tapped. We have Push here. I think we want to go Push on the Electromancer here and just probably play out a Death Shadow. Death Shadow is just a 2/2 right now, thanks to that Electromancer hit. Serum Visions from the opponent here. Land drop for Shivan Reef into a Baral Chief of Compliance. Street Wraith for us. Let's grab that. We have a Hollow One there. Would like a Compulsive Research. Now let's see what we get into here. We have an Island and a Champion of Wits. So the thing here is, if we discard 2 cards, we would have been able to play both the Hollow Ones for free, but I misplay and just discard a land and do nothing. I'm not really sure how much this matters as far as against Storm, because of how, aggressive and not really interactive Storm is. Non-interactive Storm is, I guess. Since we can't really do anything right now in our hand against Storm, and we're just kind of waiting on them. It would have been nice, though, to have been able to, play out all those Hollow Ones, but I guess it's fine. Let's go with the Champion of Wits here. Making a creature, drawing some cards. Street Wraith is here for us, so let's cycle that. And then just play out our Hollow Ones for free. So we are a turn behind on playing the Hollow Ones, but we do have the answers to play them, which is nice. So that's cool. I'm happy with that. Gifts ungiven from the opponent, though, so this is probably the point in the match where it doesn't really matter that much. Opponent is going to go for their Storm count next turn and probably just demolish us. So Noxious Revival and the Rituals with Metamorphose, so we can just throw. It doesn't really matter what we throw away or what we don't throw away. I guess we could just pick the Rituals. Revival's probably the one that we wanted to throw into the graveyard instead, but it's whatever. Honestly, I've played against Storm so many times that it really doesn't matter what you put in the graveyard. They're really gonna, if they have the Past in Flames, they're just gonna go off. So we're at 7, by the way, as well. So having Grape Shot in the graveyard does mean that once they hit Storm count 7, that it doesn't really matter. We're gonna want to scoop up and go into game 2. So game 2 here, sideboard plan, bringing in Dampen Sphere, bringing in Spellbomb, bringing in Inquisition of Kozilek. Taking out the Prized Amalgam. Taking out maybe Compulsive Research. Let's look at this here. Let's take out actually Fatal Push. And then, well, yeah. Let's take out Fatal Push, bring in Stubborn Denial. And maybe take out Collective Brutality. No, we want that. Let's take out Compulsive Research. Trying to keep in as many things to throw away from their hand as possible, like Gifts Ungiven or whatever, and counter stuff with Stubborn Denial. So we'll see, though. Play first, yes. Opening hand, 3 lands, Death Shadow, Research, Hollow One, and Angler. Not terrible, not great. Pluto Delta is going to help a little bit. Let's go with the Watery Grave here. Spirebluff Canal. Serum Visions from the opponent here. 7 cards in hand. I probably want to play Watery Grave here. Say yes, go to 15. Pass turn. We could have cycled the Hollow One there just to give Angler a little bit of food so it could come out a little bit quicker, but opponent just played a Steam Vents and pass. So let's go for a Compulsive Research here. Damping Sphere in our hand is really good. Let's just get rid of a land, I feel like. Yeah, let's get rid of the island here. Pass turn. Our hand has a lot of good stuff. It's just a little awkward. Ritual from the opponent. Are they going to be able to go off on turn 3 here? Let's see. Of course, with Storm, it's one of those things where they can definitely do that, and it can definitely happen. So there's a ritual there. Another ritual. Pass in Flames. Ritual, ritual, ritual. Gonna go for Empty the Warrens. Okay, so they're playing the Empty the Warrens build now. And that's lethal for us. Alright, so let's see if we can even hope to do anything here. So we can go for a swamp. I mean, we can play an Angler and still die to 15 points of damage. Yeah, that's it. Let's just cycle Hollow One. Yeah. Alright, let's get into match 4. Man, these matches have been not fun. Opening hand is 2 Swamp with a Fatal Push, Amalgams, Research, and Hollow One. Not terrible. Glistener Elf, oh my god, we're on Infect now. Fatal Push, hopefully, or thankfully, was in our hand here. Blighted Agent from the opponent. Let's go Watery Grave into a Bloodghast Pass. Got a Noble Hierarch as well. Okay, makes it 2/2. Let's go Watery Grave into a Compulsive Research. Throw away the Amalgams. Get in for 2 here. Are we just dead? Is that what just happens here? 5 cards in hand for the opponent. They have another green mana. Oh yeah, Groundswell into... Yep, we're dead. Fatal Push, Dismember. Ritual of Soot. Compulsive Research coming out. Tasigur coming out. Let's hit Submit. Oh my gosh. We could have also brought in Inquisition of Kozilek as well. That would also have been pretty good for this matchup too. Serpent Denial could also be pretty good for those Rancors and pump spells, so also interesting to bring in. Alright, opening hand, no land. Second opening hand, not really any land. I mean, we have a Street Wraith. Let's go with a keep, I guess. Have the Swamp off the top. That's fine. Let's go with Thoughtseize, Groundswell, Might of Okrosa, and Vines of Vastwood. So Vines of Vastwood basically gives their creature Hexproof, so we're going to get rid of that. Inkmoth Nexus coming in. Let's go for a Bloodghast Pass. Pendlehaven going for a 1 point of damage. Let's get in for 2 here. 6 cards in hand. Misty Rainforest from the opponent, so Dismember is in our hand. That's pretty good. Let's just go for an attack here if we can. And hold up Dismember for just removal. Would honestly like to get into a Watery Grave so we could get out more Death Shadows. Noble Hierarch from the opponent here. Prize Amalgam from us. The problem here, of course, is that they're probably going to have either the Vines of Vastwood or maybe a Blossoming Defense or something like that in their hand already since so many turns has passed. Noble Hierarch is interesting thanks to the Nexus. Let's just see what happens here. Nexus, alright, they're going to go with the Pendlehaven. Might of Okrosa, this is a 5/5 now. A Groundswell, sure. Let's say okay. Misty Rainforest is on the battlefield, but of course Noble Hierarch can tap for mana. Alright, let's go for a Dismember. Yep, and Blossoming Defense, that's it. Oh man, this has been fun. Alright, let's go to match 5 here and see what we can do. It's so strange. It's like I'm fighting all of the not really non-interactive, but the most like aggressive decks possible in the format. I mean, you had like Ironworks combo, Storm, Infect. It's just not fun. Let's go Polluted Delta into Watery Grave, cycle that Street Wraith, and pass turn. I just feel like our deck might just be a turn too slow or something, perhaps. I don't know. I definitely think there's some tooling needs to be done here. Maybe some more removal in the game 1 game plan, like more Inquisitions or Thought Seizes. You can always do that. That might help. Cavern of Souls. This is a elf deck now. Okay. Getting in for 1 here. We can't block with Bloodghast. Let's go Watery Grave down to 9. Go Tasigur, since it is a 4/5. And pass turn. 5 cards in hand for the opponent. 3 mana. 4 mana. Elvish Clancaller. Yep. Into a Elite. Going wide. No attack though, thanks to the 4/5 blocking them. Let's go Polluted Delta. Sack that for a Swamp. Let's go for a Compulsive Research. Let's get rid of Compulsive Research and Champion of Wits. Cycle Street Wraith. Let's get Hollow One out there for free. And we could also go Clancaller Kill on this. We could play the Angler as well. Either way, we're kind of dead unless we try and get rid of a Clancaller. So let's do that. But that's going to do it anyway. Let's bring in Ritual Soot in the sideboard. Bring in Fatal Pushes. We could bring in Dismember as well. Let's take out Bloodghast, Amalgam, and hit Submit. Opening hand is actually not terrible. It looks kind of bad, but thanks to Brutality and Street Wraith, I'm actually kind of happy with the hand here. Since it can help us get into more cards. Here's a Hollow One. Okay, that's pretty good. And that means Collective Brutality on turn 3 can net us a Hollow One as well. Elvish, or Llanowar Elves, not Elvish Mystic, Llanowar Elves. Watery Grave for us again. Cavern of Souls from the opponent, 5 cards in hand. Heritage Druid, okay. Elite, sure. Into a Arch Druid, okay. This is not bad. This is going to be Collective Brutality, kill the Arch Druid, and get a Hollow One. So, I'm pretty happy with that. And get rid of a Collected Company. That's pretty good too. Nice. 1 card in hand. Clancaller pass. Let's just kill the Clancaller immediately. And get in for 4. That seems pretty good, right? That actually works out really well. 1 card in hand for the opponent. A Scoop. Nice! Oh, cool. Let's go bring in Dismember and see what they do. Opening hand for them. Mulliganing down to 6. 5 for the opponent. Oh, they're scooping 2! Alright, so we learned the lesson here that, you know, not all decks are created equal, and, you know, sometimes you just won 4.
Those matches were not fun. But it's kind of an interesting way for us to learn how to change the deck and alter it in different ways. I definitely think that maybe going more towards a just strictly Hollow One and Death Shadow approach and kind of getting out the Bloodghast and Prize Amalgam situation might be a bit better, kind of putting more like hand hate like Inquisitions or Thoughtseizes into the Game 1 game plan. Maybe putting some stuff where we can actually, you know, exile the Graveyard from Game 1 game plan as well, or shutting down any kind of combo potential as well. But again, I think Inquisition and Thoughtseize does that for us. Maybe some more Collective Brutalities, that's probably in it as well for us. But yeah, really had some interesting matches for sure. I definitely think the Ironworks deck list one was the most fun because we got to see the deck kind of go off like immediately for us. But at the same time, you know, Ironworks sucks. I was kind of really hoping that they would actually time themselves out, but they were almost about to time themselves out, and they didn't. So very close for us, but still a lot of fun. And again, we're doing leagues for all of these longer deck tech videos now. So if we go 0.5 or 1.4 like this one right here, that's totally fine. We're going to keep it in the video. We're going to use it as kind of like a learning situation where we're going to say, you know, this was good against this matchup, this was bad against this matchup. What can we do to make this deck a little bit better? And I hope you guys kind of join me in the comments down below, kind of thinking about what can make this deck a little bit better. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below for sure. And of course, like if you like it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I always try to bring more fresh ideas and brews to this channel as often as I possibly can. And I love you guys, and I hope you'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome MTG content just like this. And make sure to tap the bell icon to be notified whenever a video is made live. If you want to keep watching content, here are 2 more videos for you. This video and many others are sponsored by MTGO Traders and Cape Fear Games. Buy and sell digital singles to build your online collection today with MTGO Traders, and get your paper singles, accessories, and much more from Cape Fear Games. Whatever your Magic needs, both places have you covered.